Hello, it's Luke Michael Howard, clinical hypnotist from Luke-Gnosis Hypnosis, here with another video for you. And today's video is entitled How to Underreact. What do I mean by that? We're often told about overreacting. You know, we're walking down the street and someone accidentally barges into us, oh, and we get angry. Or we're driving along and someone cuts in front of our car and we get angry. Or we don't get that promotion at work and we get annoyed. Or we get supposedly rejected by someone that we're romantically interested in and we're like, oh, why can't they see how great I am? That's what I mean by overreacting. There's always going to be a reaction to whatever happens and whatever the life throws at us out there. But I want to share with you the concept of underreacting. An example is, you're standing in line at the bank to pay some bills off. And there's quite a few people in front of you. There's 5 or 6 people. And it would appear that all the staff are not on duty at that moment looking after those people. In fact, there's a couple of counters that are open. Now, most people would figure, well, why? It's a busy time. They've got so many people here. Why aren't all the counters open? That's what most people would think. Or you're kind of observing as, why is this person asking so many questions? Why is it taking so long? I need to get in and get out. I've got a life. Overreacting, at least internally. Feeling miserable, suffering. How to underreact. Those things are going to come up. Almost like the molten lava coming up from a volcano. This is life. But what you can start to do and train yourself is find out those triggers in your life, and that was just an example. You can use that same example but in a different setting, like when you're lining up for your Starbucks coffee and it just seems to be taking forever and the people seem to be slow or incompetent or serving. Whatever it is, all the games that you play inside your own head. What you can do, as soon as you start to feel that rage come up inside yourself, you can be like, well, this is what I usually do, right? I get angry. I'd be like, why is it taking so long? It's not going to help me. It's not going to help the situation go any faster. And no one else is going to know, other than maybe the screw face that I make looking at people, that I'm dissatisfied. And even if they know that I'm dissatisfied, it isn't necessarily going to make it any better because I've made that same screw face before. And the line hasn't got any faster and people haven't magically got more competent at their jobs, and the people that are being served didn't ask less questions. You can't control any of that. So if you try and control things that you have no control of, you're just going to suffer and you're going to be miserable. My whole deal is helping you end the suffering, helping the misery. So what you can do is find out those triggers. You feel it coming up. You start to get annoyed. You'd be like, well, you know what? How would most people react in this situation? Well, they'd get annoyed, they'd get frustrated, they'd tense up their muscles, they'd tense up their face, they'd shallow breathe, they'd have an internal dialogue that's not very supportive inside their head. What would I usually do? Well, yeah, I'd do all of those things usually. How would it make me feel? Pretty miserable and suffer. How would I like to be instead? Oh, I don't really think about it. How would I like to be instead? Yeah, how would you like to be instead when you're in that situation on the line, the cue, the trigger, whatever? How would you like to perform instead? I'd like to be a bit calmer, actually. You know, a bit more relaxed. Maybe a little bit more in the moment. And just being present. And just like feeling my feet on the ground. And just being like in a really peaceful, tranquil place in that moment. Not to be 1 minute into the future or 1 minute into the past, but just be there. Just be there in that moment. How to underreact. It don't take you hiring some life coaching genius for 6 sessions for them to teach you the secret of underreacting. You don't even have to buy a $20 book or a £200 or dollar audio course or a 2-day Tony Robbins seminar. It's going to set you back $500. Do those things if you want, or you can just find the trigger. Find how most people react in a way that you wouldn't want to react anymore because they're suffering and miserable. How you used to react and how it used to make you suffer and miserable. Ask what you'd want to do instead. And then just simply do it. And simply by just making that realization, and you may have to do it a few times because that old habit, the old triggers probably greased the groove and you've been doing it many tens of thousands of times perhaps in your life. But when your unconscious mind sees you now, feels you, experiences you in those new situations, underreacting, that starts to be your go-to rather than that eruption of molten lava coming from that volcano. You start to underreact. Someone cuts in front of you in the car, how do you unreact? Underreact. Not that you don't react, but how do you underreact? You do the opposite. They cut in front of you and you just relax and just be thankful that you're alive, that you have a nice car, that perhaps you're taking a nice drive on a summer's night, that you'll be able to go from A to B and you don't have to walk from A to B like if you're around perhaps 100 years ago. Underreact. You ask someone out for a date and for whatever reason they don't like you, they're not into you in that moment, whatever it is. Most of the time it has nothing to do with you, it's to do with them and where they are in that moment. If you came back and asked them later or they were in a better mood, a better situation in their own mental space, they might give you a different answer. But you feel, you're annoyed or you're angry that they rejected you, you feel bad about yourself, you want to give them a bit of the business back. No, I'm not advocating violence, but you're angry. No one likes to be rejected for any rejection type situation, whether that's for a promotion or from the opposite sex or same sex. We're not discriminating there. How do you underreact? You think about what you normally do. Well, I'd get a bit upset, I'd moan and complain, I'd figure that I'm so special and I'm unique, or I'd feel like, oh, maybe I'm not so special and I'm not so unique, and I would take this person who supposedly has just rejected me as gospel, as that's my new truth now. None of that's true. Just games you play inside your head. You ask someone out and for whatever reason they don't like you, they're not into it. You don't get that promotion at work. Rather than overreact, simply say to yourself, well, how would I usually react? Well, I'd feel upset, my ego would be bruised, and I'd feel that I was not a shiny unicorn anymore, and maybe that I wasn't nearly as good as I thought that I was, and yada yada yada, whatever the story is. You do usually do that. What's the result? What's the result for most people who do that? They suffer, they feel miserable, play this internal game, this disempowering. What would you like to feel instead? I'd just like to feel that I took a shot, and I did what I could do. I controlled what I did. I expressed myself in a mature adult way, and for whatever reason that person wasn't buying what I was selling, and yeah, sometimes it happens. Maybe I'll adjust my approach next time I do it, but yeah, this happens. That person wasn't for me. That promotion perhaps wasn't for me. Perhaps that wasn't for you. Perhaps that person who said no was not the right person for you, and they said no so they could get out of the way so that right person could be there for you. Perhaps that job offer that you didn't get, that you got rejected for, and rejection is only a word that you've taken from society to label on it, it's not true, but perhaps you didn't get that job so you can get a better job, so you can start your own business, so you can be more empowered, so you don't know what the plan is of the universe. You don't know. But listen, you can keep suffering and beating yourself up, or you can start to underreact. What do you want instead? Well, I'd just like to be a bit neutral. Someone says no to me, I would just like to be like, water off a duck's back, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. And then next, it's not a big thing. None of it's a big thing. We make it out to be a big thing. None of it's a big thing. But you could really make a grand production of it to be a big thing. Trust me, I used to do that all the time. And it made me miserable and angry, and I'm just supposing that it probably does the same for you as well. So underreact. Think about what you'd want instead. Think about how you'd usually react. Think about how most people react in the same situation internally. You don't want to be like most people. You don't want to be the same. You do want to be an individual. You want to think for yourself. You want to be your own person. How do you want to react? How do you want to feel? I want to feel calm. I want to feel centered. I want to feel love from me. Whatever it is. Not love from me, but love from yourself. Although I can give you love as well. There you go, love. It costs nothing. I love you all. But you know what I mean? Ask yourself, in this situation that used to allow me to feel these negative emotions or feelings, how can I not feel them anymore, and how can I feel perhaps the opposite and underreact? So it's just like water off a duck's back. So next time you're ordering coffee and there's a huge line, instead of you just being like, wow, there's an opportunity to check in with myself, because I'm so distracted by Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and the internet and video games and blah 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 and texting and all this. When was the last time you checked in yourself? Oh, I can check in with myself. How am I feeling? I'm feeling alright, yeah. Yeah, I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm standing here, I'm in line, I'm just about to put some money in the bank, I'm just about to get my coffee or my juice or whatever it is. Yeah, life's alright, life's pretty good actually, yeah. Because you see, you don't have to take years of therapy or even years of hypnosis to get to that. You can get to that by simply following this formula. The formula is, one more time, you ready? Think about those triggers in life that you inherently react in a certain way that make you experience suffering. Think about what you'd like to feel instead. Sometimes just that shift is enough for your neurology to start picking up the new lessons and learnings, to encode it into you at a neurological level, to allow you to experience more of that new behaviour and less of that old behaviour. And you may have to do it a few times. It's not necessarily going to change over life, but you can start the process of changing over life now. I've been Luke Michael Howard. This video has been called How to Underreact. Always believe.